What up, people that are watching my YouTube videos? I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in quite a while. I've just been taking a break, a little tiny break from YouTube, playing video games, resting. It was spring break, I had Easter, I got a lot of video games played a lot of video games today. My eyes hurt. One video game I was playing today was Just Cause 3, but none of that matters. Today we are ranking my top 5 favorite video game movies with the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That might have just spoiled the video, so perhaps I should have warned people about that. But anyways, let's start off with number 5. Okay, so most of these movies are going to be kids' movies. This first one is one of those included. The Angry Birds 2 movie was a great movie. Okay, great is an overstatement. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was a kids' movie, I'm 15, so it's not really going to appeal to me. But Angry Birds is one of the best, most popular mobile video game franchises of all time, and it's probably the first video game franchise that I ever played on my phone. And it has a lot of nostalgia to me. This movie, I actually saw the first movie way more than I've seen this movie. But when I did see this movie, I thought it was better than the Angry Birds, but I just kind of stopped watching the Angry Birds movies, like, shortly after this came out. But it was still a good movie. It was still pretty cool. The humor was very funny. I found a couple of jokes make your eyes roll, but some of them land for the most part. Why didn't it just click like that? Did you guys hear that? It just clicked weirdly. Not all the humor will land, but it is funny. Some of the characters are way more likable in this movie than the first movie. The first movie was still decent, but it wasn't amazing. Neither was this movie, but this movie is still pretty good. Like, most video game movies are not very good. These 5 are great movies, and I'm sure there are more, but I just find these 5 to be pretty good. The Angry Birds movie 2, story-wise, is also pretty cool. The villain is way better than in the first movie. I don't remember her name. I don't remember her name, but it was still a fun movie. It is one of the few video game movies that have scored over 60% in Rotten Tomatoes. Means it's a fresh movie. In fact, all 5 of these movies are fresh. But I give the Angry Birds movie a solid 7 out of 10. It was good.
Guess I'll keep on living. Oh my God!
I shouldn't have come out to play with the big boys, Ian, because you're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
What?
Oh, crap!
So, I lied. The Uncharted movie is not rated fresh. It only has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is still over 90, so we good. So, Uncharted is probably the least kid-friendly movie on this list, and it's still pretty kid-friendly. My young cousins could probably go see this and be fine. My 5-year-old cousin could see it and be fine. So, yeah, that puts into perspective the movies on this list. So, spoiler alert, Mortal Kombat's not going to be on this list, sadness. But Uncharted was still a great movie. I actually haven't played any of the Uncharted games. This is the only video game movie where I haven't actually played any of the video games that it is based on. So, I didn't really know what to expect when going into this. I knew I expected adventure and treasure hunting, but I didn't really know what to expect from the characters. I liked Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I heard Tom Holland was miscasted. Once again, I haven't played any of these video games, so take all these opinions with a grain of salt. But I actually liked how Tom Holland played him. Maybe he was a bit too edgy for Tom Holland standards. This is Spider-Man. Spider-Man's never edgy. But I still found it fun. The stunts it was like Indiana Jones met Mission Impossible, and I love the scenes where they're carrying a giant pirate ship into the air via a helicopter. That could never happen. It was funny. I felt like more jokes landed in this one than in Angry Birds. And I felt this movie was more fun than Angry Birds movie 2. This movie was a lot of fun. I saw it very recently, because it came out recently. But I very found it fun. The characters are very, well, I wouldn't say they're likable, but I mean, this is an action movie, so not all characters are going to be likable. The story was pretty good, but I feel like it's something we've seen before a bunch of times. And I thought this movie was fun. It was a very fun time at the movie. I said that again. I need to stop. And I'd recommend y'all go watch it. So I'm gonna give you a fun fact here. I'll probably give you a fun fact about the top 3 movies on this list. Detective Pikachu is the only movie I have ever seen where no one else in my family has seen it. I am the only person in my family who has seen Detective Pikachu. How did I see it? I saw it with a person who was babysitting me. Although since I'm 15 and the movie came out 3 years ago, I was babysat at 12. Don't judge me. But still, I found this movie to be very cool. To me, Pokemon was like life when I was 12. It probably still is life to me right now. But I just love Pokemon. Pokemon is amazing. So I was very hyped for this movie. It was the highest grossing video game movie at the time. It's been surpassed twice now by the top 2 movies on this list, so that's cool. And it's a very fun movie. It's not really connected to any of the video games or the anime, but it still is very cool, and it has the infamous Pikachu being voiced by Ryan Reynolds, so props to him. It is another fresh video game movie with another rating, with actually a rating below 90%. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's below 80% in audience scores. And it's the only movie on this list, I'm pretty sure, that's rated that low by the audiences. But I personally would rank it at like maybe an 8.9 out of 10. I would give it that rating. The story is very cool. I love the animation of the Pokemon, and they are very realistic. Some Pokemon designs might put me off at some points, but most of them are pretty cool. And I'm glad Pikachu's design didn't put me off, because we had to stare at his design for the whole movie. But it was a very interesting movie. It was very complicated to me as well. It's a detective story because it's called Pokemon Detective Pikachu. But I've heard actually some people call this the best video game movie of all time. In my opinion, the top 2 movies are tiers above the last 3. But I still found the last 3, especially Detective Pikachu, very cool movie. It was a very good movie. Once again, 8.9 out of 10. I just liked it. It was cool. I also like Pokemon. Fun fact number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog is my favorite, oh gosh, I need to put this correctly, is my favorite video game main character. There are other characters in other video games that are not necessarily their main character that I like better, but Sonic the Hedgehog is my favorite video game main character, if that makes sense. Like other video game main characters, Halo, like Master Chief, there's Kratos, there's Mario, there's Zelda, or no, there's Link, there's, I don't know who else, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, Pikachu from Pokemon. Sonic the Hedgehog is my favorite out of all of them. And it's mainly because of this movie. This movie, it was amazing. When it came out, it was rated like so highly, and also we can't talk about this movie without talking about that abomination that was the original Sonic the Hedgehog design. I mean, like, how can you not talk about this movie how can you not talk about that design without talking about this movie? Like, seriously. Or how can you not talk about this movie without talking about that design? It's just ugly. The new design was million miles better. Memes were like so all over the place. They were all over the internet. The rage was furious. But it came back. Paramount made the very risky decision to redesign Sonic, and it might have just saved this video game franchise. This movie franchise as well. It was a great movie. I loved the acting, especially by Tom Wachowski's actor James Marsden. He did an amazing job. Jim Carrey was Jim Carrey, and that's all I need. But as far as human characters go, that's about it. But it's a good thing that those two human characters are primarily the only human characters that are on screen. And that's good. A lot of people say it's like a road trip movie starring Sonic the Hedgehog. I honestly felt like it was Sonic the Hedgehog starring a road trip movie, if that makes any sense. It was like Sonic the Hedgehog story, all the Sonic you love within a road trip. If any of that made sense to you. It felt a lot like Sonic. It felt like a very cool Sonic character. It was very great action. And this is probably one of the only PG movies where I actually like the humor, and I don't like just get overrun by cheese and just the classic PG kids movie stuff that puts off teenagers like me, which is why for a long time this was my favorite PG movie. Remember, I'm 15. Most PG movies won't appeal to me, but this one does, to be honest. And it was so good that it warranted a sequel. Spoiler alert. I said that at the beginning of the video, and I'm saying it now. And just so I can say I told you so, Shadow the Hedgehog is in the post-credit scene. I told you so. There was a spoiler warning. You should have seen the movie. I said it now and I said it before. But this movie was amazing, man. It was amazing. It was great. Every good thing about the movie was ramped. Every good thing about the first movie was ramped up. Every bad thing about the movie was toned down. Except for one, I will say, the character, I don't know who she's played by, but like Tom, the person who always says that her sister should divorce Tom Wachowski. I don't like her. I felt like she was enhanced in this movie. No, she was like about in the same energy as this movie, but that's minor gripe. This movie was still amazing. I've heard two scenes were mainly criticized. That was the bar scene where Sonic and Tails were dancing, and then the wedding scene. I think the bar scene was good actually, and I think the wedding scene was bad. I didn't like the wedding scene, but that was the only scene that I didn't like in the movie. The story was pure Sonic. The first movie didn't have too much Sonic in it, in my opinion it did, but in some areas I can't agree where it didn't have too much Sonic. This movie was Sonic's story. It had like classic Sonic scenes from Sonic video games. I'm saying Sonic way too much. It was a great movie. It had Knuckles, it had Tails. Tails is, by the way, one of my favorite characters in this Sonic franchise. I have a top three. There's number 3 is Sonic, number 2 is Tails, number 1 is Shadow. And I'm super hyped for the third movie, which is coming, by the way. And there's a Knuckles TV spinoff show, which is also going to be pretty cool, I imagine. Also, Knuckles is voiced by Idris Elba, the guy who played Heimdall and Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad and the Thor movies, which was super cool. Tails' old voice actor reprised her role, and Ben Schwartz was just as good as ever as the role. Jim Carrey was back, praise God. Tom Marsden was back, and he was just as good as he was in the first movie. I mean, there was Agent Stone. I felt like there was another officer who I did like. I felt like he was toned down in this movie. I don't remember his name, but he was good. The human characters were definitely pushed up in this movie, I feel like. And also the general in this movie was just an absolute idiot. He was an idiot in this movie and in the first movie, but more so in this movie, which frustrated me. But it was more of the fun type of frustration. Like, this movie was super fun. 9.9 out of 10. It's my favorite PG movie ever, and also the best, in my opinion, the best video game movie of all time. And that is my list. My first movie ranking on this YouTube channel. Very interesting, new grounds. Maybe I'll return to this another day. But what did you think of my opinions? Let me know down in the comments. What are your top 5 favorite video game movies of all time? Did you like the Sonic movies? Did you like Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Do you think they're better than the video games? Because they are. I mean, like, come on. Except for Sonic Mania. That video game was amazing. But I would argue that the movies are better than that video game, though. But still, what you think of my list? What do you think of the movies on my list? And what are your favorite video game movies? I'm sorry I didn't include Mortal Kombat. I actually haven't seen that movie yet. Any of the Mortal Kombat movies, like Mortal Kombat 2021, that's the one that I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like that movie, but it just didn't make the list. And I don't think it would have, because I'm not really into those types of movies. I'm pretty sure that movie is really gory, and I'm not going to show any of it because it's just too brutal. But what did you think of my list? Let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and peace.